I never thought the day would come when I'd be kicked out of my own hotel by my own family. Right in the middle of blaring music and laughter from a lavish party named after my little sister. Right in the grand lobby of Somerset, the luxury hotel I spent 10 years building, security approached me, looked me straight in the eye and said seriously, "Sorry, Miss Savannah, but we've been instructed to ask you to leave the event area." I thought they were joking. But then I turned around and saw my mother raising a glass to toast Saren's birthday with a proud smile, while my sister stood on stage like a star. I heard my sister's voice echo through the microphone, shouting, "Don't let anyone not on the guest list ruin my party, especially that stranger who's been lurking near the buffet." Yes, that stranger was me. Savannah Hale, the woman who laid every brick in this hotel, who stayed up endless nights chasing investors, who bargained down to the last dollar with vendors. And now I was being thrown out of the very place I'd built, from the ground up, by a sister 8 years younger, who had done nothing but take selfies and demand everything under the sun. It all started a week ago, when I got back in town after a business trip to Seattle. I managed remotely, but Somerset had never left my mind. It wasn't just property, it was flesh and blood, a dream I traded my youth to build. I returned just in time for Saren's birthday. My half-sister, the princess of the Hale family. My mom had sent me a short message. "Make it back by the weekend, we're having a family dinner. Saren's throwing a little party." I thought it would be a cozy family meal, like every year. I was far too naive. That day, when I stepped into Somerset, I couldn't believe my eyes. The grand lobby, usually reserved for high-end conferences or elegant weddings, was decorated like a Hollywood gala. Crystal chandeliers, red carpet, a glittering gold backdrop spelling out Saren, a 90-foot champagne table, and a sound system worth tens of thousands blasting upbeat music. I stopped at the front desk, ready to ask what was going on, when the receptionist, someone I had personally interviewed and hired 2 years ago, pointed toward the main ballroom, looking confused. "I thought you had approved them to rent the entire ground floor for today." I wandered in like I was sleepwalking. Everyone was dressed to the nines. Relatives, family friends, even people I hadn't seen in over a decade. And they all looked at me, strangely. No one greeted me. No one asked about my trip or the business. They looked at me like I didn't belong. That was when I heard Saren giggling from the stage. She was taking selfies with my mom and my stepfather Peter in front of a 3-tiered birthday cake shaped like the Somerset Hotel. I hadn't even taken a step forward before security blocked me. I stared at him, speechless. He only bowed slightly and said softly, "I'm sorry, Miss Hale, but your mother asked us not to let anyone disrupt the celebration today." I was stunned. Trying to stay calm, I turned to my mother. "Mom, what is going on here? Why didn't anyone say anything to me? Who approved using the hotel without asking me?" My mother smiled, completely unbothered. "Oh, Savannah. I thought you knew. We all discussed it already. This is Saren's 25th birthday, her biggest event of the year. And I'm sure you don't mind covering the costs for the family. After all, Somerset is yours." I stared at her like she was a stranger. $150,000. That's the number I overheard when Saren was talking to the event planner as I passed by the service area. She'd hired a band, elite servers, a celebrity chef from New York, and a professional event company that handles A-listers. All of it, without ever running it by me. And my entire family knew. None of them thought it was wrong that I, Savannah Hale, the founder of Somerset, was being sidelined from a luxury party thrown right inside my own home. Worse, they just assumed I'd foot the entire bill, no questions asked, no thank you, no permission. I stood there, surrounded by glittering lights and party noise, but it felt like I'd just been stripped bare in front of the world. I wasn't angry about the money. I wasn't hurt by being kicked out. My heart broke, because my own family treated me like I was invisible. I remember that awful evening so clearly, just 3 days before the birthday that evicted the owner took place. Family dinner at my mom's house always reeked of Chanel perfume, And the kind of sugar-coated manipulation only someone skilled in emotional warfare could deliver. I came because she said there was something important the whole family needed to decide together. I was foolish enough to think it was a sincere invite from a loving family. Just a few minutes after the salad was served, before it even got cold, Saren cleared her throat and stood up like the CEO of an entertainment empire. "Everyone," she said, swirling a glass of red wine, eyes sparkling, not from emotion but from the chandelier lights bouncing off her glitter-coated eyelids. "This year I want a birthday party that's a little more extravagant. None of that boring stuff like last year. I want something Kardashian level." I didn't even have time to react before Peter, my stepfather, burst out laughing. "So the girl wants to be the next Kylie, huh?" Saren pretended to be modest. "Oh, stop it, Dad. I'm not as ambitious as Kylie, but Somerset is the perfect place to make it happen. Isn't it?" I frowned. "Somerset is a hotel, not a film set. If you want to host something, you need to book it and talk to the manager." "Oh, Savannah," my mom cut in, her voice as sweet as watered-down syrup. "You're always so uptight about rules. Your sister just wants a memorable 25th birthday party." Saren smiled, twirling her phone in her hand like she was about to drop a bomb. "Actually, I've already booked everything," she said, as casually as if she were ordering pizza. "Decorations, sound system, the chef, the guest list. And the event company has been working with Somerset's manager since last week." "You didn't know?" I felt my blood rush to my ears, burning hot. "You booked my hotel for a party and didn't even ask me?" "Oh, like you ever have time to be asked," she snapped. "You're always flying off for business trips, meeting fancy clients. All I wanted was a party, and it's not like you use your money for anything else, right?" The room went silent for a second, then my mom let out a soft sigh, full of implication. "Saren has a point. You've made it, Savannah. You should learn to give a little." I turned to her, hoping to see some support, or at least fairness. But she just looked at me with cold indifference, as if I were selfish for not letting my spoiled sister tear up the hotel for her Instagram backdrop. Peter chimed in with that holier-than-thou tone I hated most. "The wealthy should be generous, sweetheart. No one's asking you to throw the party. Just let them use the space. And maybe cover a little for the family." "A little?" I couldn't hold it in, I laughed. "That little is $120,000, right? Or $150,000 if you include the DJ and live band." Silence. No one denied it. My mother gave a slight nod, as if it were perfectly reasonable. I slumped into my chair, gripping the napkin in my hand. "So this is the plan? Use me like a walking credit card? And turn me into a stranger in my own life?" Saren flipped her hair, coldly. "You're being dramatic. You're helping me. What's wrong with that? Or do you think money makes you better than us?" I looked around the table. No one spoke up for me. Not a single sympathetic look. Just a few awkward blinks, and some guilty nods. That was the moment I realized. To them I was no longer Savannah, the girl who studied late into the night, who struggled through every step of building a business, who gave up every vacation to create Somerset. I was just a living ATM, a cash machine with the same last name and the wrong to ever say no. They didn't need me. They needed my wallet. And the worst part was, they thought that was completely fair. That night, I drove home in a blur of rage and heartbreak. The streetlights blurred past like slashes through my memories. They didn't see my pain. And honestly, they didn't care. Monday morning, I had just stepped into my office on the 10th floor of Somerset when my assistant Haley rushed over with a worried look on her face. "Savannah, have you checked Instagram this morning?" I looked up, frowning. "What happened?" Haley handed me her phone. The screen lit up with a 15-minute story from Saren, just enough to turn my normal day into a living nightmare. The video showed a corner of Somerset's lounge, the exact spot where I usually worked in the morning. It zoomed in on me having breakfast alone. Black coffee, open laptop, my hair neatly tied up, wearing a plain white shirt. My face calm, slightly tilted like I was reading a financial report. The story had a sarcastic music overlay and bold text splashed across the screen. Billionaire CEO living like a front desk clerk. Neat, plain, and seriously boring. Plain Jane. Vibes savage. Vienna. No drama. It felt like someone slapped me in the face. Not because of the video, but because the one who posted it was my sister, Sarah Hale, with over 300,000 followers. When did she post this? I asked, my voice icy cold. About an hour ago, and it's already got nearly 50,000 views. I collapsed into my chair, gripping the phone tightly. As I scrolled through the comments and replies attached to the story, I saw familiar names. Old friends, industry partners, even a few influencers who had once collaborated with Somerset, dropping likes, laughing emojis, or reposting the video with cruel jokes. Savannah is the definition of having it all, but living like she's got nothing. Maybe she's doing ascetic meditation to cleanse her family karma. Wait, who owns Somerset again? Looks like an assistant borrowing her boss's office. I'm not someone who's easily hurt by social media. I've been criticized for turning down a multi-million-dollar liquor brand deal on ethical grounds. I've taken heat for shutting Somerset down for 2 weeks to upgrade safety systems. I've faced public backlash before. But never, not once, had it come from my own blood. I didn't post anything. I didn't clap back. I didn't explain. I just turned off my phone, stood up, shut my office door, and for the first time in years, sat in silence for more than 10 minutes. My mind felt like it was splintering, not from humiliation, but from facing a brutal truth. Sarah no longer saw me as her sister. She saw me as a tool, a joke, a stepping stone to elevate her own image. This wasn't just a petty squabble, not some silly younger sibling moment or harmless online joke. No. This was a deliberate attack, a silent declaration of war. She wanted to make me a public laughingstock, to damage my image in the eyes of partners and clients, to make me seem small in her glittery world. A gentle knock on the door, Haley stepped in, holding a cup of hot tea. She placed it on my desk and said softly, "You don't have to do anything right now, but if you want, I can draft a formal response. Or call the lawyer." I shook my head slowly. "No, Haley, not yet, at least, not yet." My silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. Because I knew, if I fell into this emotional trap, she'd win. The version of Savannah Hale that Saren was trying to build, a dull, outdated woman no one cared about, would only be reinforced if I reacted exactly the way she expected. No, I wasn't giving her that satisfaction. Instead, I started rebuilding a wall in my mind. A wall of silence. Not to hide, but to prepare. I needed time. A plan, and most importantly, confirmation of what I had always suspected. This family never truly saw me as one of their own. They only saw me as a source of profit. The tea was still warm in my hand, but my heart was growing cold. Like a machine rebooting. I was no longer Savannah, the eldest sister who gave in, who always thought, maybe they didn't mean to hurt me. I was the CEO of Somerset. And if they wanted war, I wasn't going down without a fight. I looked out the glass window. The city was still bustling, loud, alive. But in my head, only one word remained. And no more bowing. No more giving in. No more waiting to be understood. They started this war. And I would be the one to end it. Make them regret it. 3 days after the humiliating story spread across social media, my mother showed up at Somerset without warning. She wore an ivory Chanel suit, oversized sunglasses hiding half her face, and her heels clacked across the marble floor like a summons from hell. The front desk called upstairs to tell me, "Mrs. Beverly Hale is requesting to see the CEO immediately." I knew it wasn't good. I told Haley to send her up. Less than 2 minutes later, the door swung open. My mother walked in like it was her own boardroom. No greeting, no asking if I was busy. She placed a cream-colored envelope on my desk. Didn't even sit down. Take a look at this. It's the official budget for Saren's birthday party. I looked up at her. Budget. I thought I made it clear. I don't approve of any of this. She ignored my tone, pulled off her sunglasses, and shook her head like I was a child throwing a tantrum. Don't be dramatic, Savannah. Everything's already been arranged. I pulled the paper out of the envelope and unfolded it. Just as I suspected, a professionally printed budget sheet, complete with the event company's logo, listing every category in detail: lighting, sound, catering, decor, VIP guest list. And at the very bottom, printed in bold red ink: payer, Savannah Hale, $150,000. Confirmed. I gripped the edge of the paper, my voice hoarse. Who confirmed this? I never signed anything. I didn't send an email. I didn't approve a single cent of this. My mother sat down and let out a theatrical sigh. Savannah, you always make everything so complicated. This was already planned from the beginning. We talked about it at dinner last week. You mean the dinner where everyone ganged up on me? I said through gritted teeth. You call it a set plan when the person paying for it wasn't even asked? You think that's fair? She shrugged. You're the most responsible person in this family. You always have been. You have the money, the resources. Helping out your family once in a while. Is that really so much to ask? I laughed, but there was no joy in it. No, Mom, this isn't helping. This is exploitation. This is coercion. This is treating me like an ATM with no say. She pushed her chair back and stood up. Don't say things like that, Savannah. I just thought you'd do the right thing like you always do. And Saren? She needs this party to build her image. She's an influencer, you know that. Social media means everything to her. I narrowed my eyes. And what about me? I don't deserve dignity? I don't deserve respect? She humiliated me in front of thousands of people, and now you show up with an invoice for her party like nothing ever happened? My mother was silent for a few seconds. Then she leaned down closer to me, her voice softening into that tone I knew too well, the one she always used when she wanted me to give in to Saren. Savannah! You're the older sister. You're the successful one. You have to be generous. Those who have, give. Those who don't, receive. That's what family is. I looked her straight in the eyes. Real family means sharing, not using. It means gratitude, not entitlement. And if you still consider this a family, then you should ask me, instead of making decisions for me. She stepped back, her face starting to harden. You're speaking like a stranger. You don't understand. I just wanted everything to go smoothly. No one needs drama right now. Drama, I scoffed. Drama is when you treat me like a cash machine. Drama is pretending Saren's just being playful while she publicly shames me, and you can't even speak up to defend me. A tense silence stretched between us. Finally, she gathered her bag and slipped her sunglasses back on. Fine. I've done my part. If you want to fight, go ahead and fight. But remember this, Savannah. Don't think you'll always win. I didn't respond. I just watched her walk away, like a failed politician backing out of her own power play. The budget sheet still sat on my desk. Bright red, sharp, cold. It wasn't just a number. It was proof. Of assumption, of dismissal, of a kind of exploitation that had been bred into this family for far too long. I folded the paper, slipped it back into the envelope, placed it in a drawer, and locked it. Not because I was afraid, but because I was waiting for the right moment. To open it in front of them all and force them to see the raw truth they'd been pretending not to see for years. One day after my meeting with my mother, I received an email from the address, sarenhale@haleteam.com. Subject: Sponsorship Agreement, Official Confirmation. I didn't open it right away. Instead, I made myself a strong black coffee, shut the office door, and sat down like a CEO about to review a crisis report. When I opened the attached PDF file, a bitter taste rose in my throat. The contract came from a luxury event planning firm based in Los Angeles, 14 pages long, drafted by a professional legal team. Clause 3, marked in red bullet points, clearly stated. Primary guarantor. Savannah Hale. Responsible for full payment of the event. Saren Hale. 25 and fabulous. With a total budget of $152,460. Taxes and fees included. The contract becomes effective upon guarantor's signature on page 14. On the signature line, my name had already been typed in Times New Roman, with the space for signing left blank. A subtle, calculated and shameless push. No phone call. No request. No explanation. She didn't need to ask, because she was sure I'd stay silent. Just like always. I closed my eyes for a few seconds, then reopened them. This time not as the offended older sister, but as an executive, managing a PR crisis. I didn't get angry. I didn't text. I didn't call. I started documenting. I created a new folder on my computer, named Dossier_Hale. Inside I made subfolders: emails, contracts, Instagram stories, expense evidence, communication logs, Somerset staff interactions. I extracted Saren's Instagram story, saved it in its original video format with screenshots. I asked Somerset's in-house legal team to verify all documents and track all communications between Saren and the event planning company, especially any emails that might contain forged approvals from me. Haley, my assistant, was tasked with compiling the entire timeline of the event booking process at the hotel. I wanted to know who signed off on the contract, from which account, and whether any internal email had been forged or manipulated. I also asked the IT department to review all security camera footage, especially any times Saren had visited Somerset in the past month, and all meetings held secretly without my invitation. And then I did something I had never done before. I hired a personal attorney. Not the company's lawyer, but a specialist in financial disputes within families. Someone cold, sharp, and not afraid to take relatives to court if necessary. "What angle do you want to take?" he asked in our first meeting, voice low and firm. I looked up at him, unblinking. "I want full legal authority to strike back. I'm not paying a cent for that party. And I want everyone trying to exploit me to know they picked the wrong person." I didn't go on social media to explain myself, even though the humiliating story was still up. I didn't send Saren a single accusatory message, though I could have ended her with one sentence. I chose silence, but not the submissive silence of the past. This time, it was silence, to prepare for the takedown. 3 days later, I received a second email reminder from Saren. Says, "Did you sign the contract yet? They're waiting to confirm with the DJ from New York. Don't make me cancel the show, okay? Love you?" No subject. No professionalism. No grammar. And most importantly, no respect. I forwarded the email directly to my lawyer with a note. Add to file under financial manipulation. Prepare legal refusal strategy. I wasn't afraid they'd call me stingy, selfish, or unwilling to sacrifice for the family. Because the truth is, I had sacrificed for 15 years. Sacrificed my personal career to support the family business after my father passed. Sacrificed my weekends to clean Mom's house while Saren vacationed with her boyfriend. Sacrificed my pride when I was called boring online. But not anymore. My generosity had expired. And I was rewriting the contract of my life. Without them in it. Saturday, April 22, 6:45 p.m. Somerset's grand lobby shimmered with lights, packed with guests in elegant gowns and sharp tuxedos. Above them, the custom-made crystal chandelier I commissioned from Italy sparkled with 1,000 glints of light, casting a glow over a space now consumed by a party titled Saren Hale 25 and Fabulous. She had actually done it. No permission. No legal agreement. Saren entered the party like a social media goddess. Red slit dress, surrounded by her personal crew, as local entertainment reporters swarmed like flies. My mother sat near the stage, face caked in thick makeup, holding a champagne glass like she was hosting a Hale family coronation. No one knew I was there too. And I didn't come to celebrate. I didn't wear a glittering evening gown, just a tailored black velvet suit, clean lines and high collar. The kind that once landed me in Denver's best-dressed CEOs on a financial magazine. I slipped through the back corridor, the one I had designed myself to connect the boardroom to the breakfast kitchen without being seen. A few longtime staff recognized me and nodded with quiet respect. No one stopped me. Because everyone knew I was the only one who truly had authority here. 7:10 p.m. I stood at the edge of the ballroom, just dimly lit enough to go unnoticed, watching the crowd like an investor reviewing quarterly profits. Then they appeared, the Monroe family. I recognized them instantly. Not just because of their wealth and influence, but because of the way they entered, composed, deliberate, and clearly assessing everything, from every smile to every glance. Mr. Monroe, a real estate magnate, walked in with his wife and their son, who was currently dating Saren. They moved like they were inspecting the quality of a business acquisition. Saren rushed over to them, grabbing her boyfriend's arm and saying loud enough for everyone to hear, "Thank you, Monroe family, for coming to my little party. Everything here at Somerset tonight was arranged by me. I wanted everyone to see I can host with real class." Arranged by her. I let out a soft laugh. Bitter enough to sting but calm enough to stay composed. And then, the moment came. A manager whispered something into Saren's ear, and her smile faltered. Just for a second. I stepped out from the shadows, walking directly toward the center of the room, just as the MC was about to announce Saren's coming-of-age speech. I raised my hand. "Excuse me, may I have a moment?" The entire ballroom turned to look. I stood tall, unflinching. Saren's eyes widened like she had just seen a ghost crawl out of a grave. "Good evening, everyone," I said, my voice calm but clear. "I'm Savannah Hale, CEO, and the sole legal owner of this hotel, Somerset." A wave of murmurs spread through the room. Saren froze. My mother's jaw dropped. Peter choked on his drink. And the Monroe family? They started paying attention. Exactly as I intended. "As you can see, tonight's party is being held on my property," I continued. "However, there has been a misunderstanding. An individual, unauthorized, with no contract and no payment, has used this venue without permission and made false claims about ownership." I turned slightly toward the Monroe family, nodding politely. "It is an honor to welcome your family to Somerset, and I want to assure you that every experience at this hotel adheres to the highest standards of both service and transparency." Mr. Monroe, the man often referred to as a real estate shark, looked at me with a different expression now. He nodded, a small smile forming. "Very impressive, Miss Hale. Just how I like it. Clear, decisive, and in control." Saren's face turned bright red. She stammered, I just wanted it to be a surprise, and I thought everything was taken care of." "No," I replied, still calm. "You thought I would stay quiet, like I always did. But you forgot. Savannah Hale is no longer your walking wallet." My mother jumped to her feet. "Savannah, you're making a scene in front of everyone." I didn't look at her. I turned my back, leaving my final words hanging in the air like a strike to their cheap pride. "This party may continue. If the organizer agrees to pay the full amount under a legitimate contract within 24 hours. If not, Somerset will proceed with formal eviction and seek damages accordingly." Then I walked away, head high, never once looking back. Leaving behind the whispers, the stunned faces, and a party about to spiral into a PR nightmare. I didn't need to shout to be heard. I only needed the truth. And truth, spoken at the right moment, is the sharpest blade. The next morning the phone rang at 6:48 a.m. I hadn't slept, not out of regret, but because the adrenaline still hadn't left my veins after last night. The screen lit up. "Dad. Peter Hale." I stared at the name for a few seconds before answering. "Savannah." His voice came through the phone dry as desert wind. No emotion, just a soft-spoken command. "Yeah?" I replied flatly. "Last night. Maybe you went a bit too far." I closed my eyes. Nailed it, word for word. Peter, if that's the only reason you're calling, then let's not waste each other's time. He sighed, that familiar, exhausting sigh I'd heard 100 times, every time I didn't behave the way the family wanted. Well, it was your sister's birthday week, wasn't it? You should consider everyone's feelings. Your mother's stressed, Saren cried all night. Why did you have to make it so dramatic? I clenched the phone tighter, lips curling into a cold smile. And what about my feelings? Or has this family never once thought those mattered? Silence. I thought he might say something decent. But instead, Savannah, don't blow this out of proportion, we're family. Things can be handled by talking, not by making a scene at a party. I laughed, short, bitter, straight to the bone. How many times have I talked to this family, Peter? When Saren humiliated me online. When Mom dropped off a contract demanding I pay. When I was kicked out of my own hotel. I talked. And everyone assumed. Assumed I'd endure. I assumed I'd stay silent. Assumed I was just a walking ATM. Don't use words like that, Peter snapped. Why not? I shot back. Isn't that exactly how this family treats me? Like an invisible support beam holding up this cheap illusion of unity. As long as it looks happy on the outside, no one cares how rotten it is underneath. You're going too far, Savannah. No, I'm finally thinking clearly, and for the first time in my life, I'm seeing everyone for who they truly are. I hung up. No tears, no need to cry. The anger had cooled, replaced by the calm resolve of someone who's seen enough, felt enough, and finally, decided to stop. I used to think, if I just tried a little harder, sacrificed a little more, they would see me. They'd appreciate me. Be grateful. But no. My family didn't want a Savannah who loved. They only wanted a Savannah who endured. And I'm not her anymore. I got dressed and headed down to the office floor. Somerset staff were going about their work as usual, but something felt different. Every glance I got this morning held a deeper kind of respect, no longer just for the busy CEO, but for the woman who stood up for what was right. Haley followed me into the office with a hot cup of coffee and a tight-lipped smile. I heard about last night. Every detail. I looked at her. And I'm proud to work for someone like you. She placed the coffee on my desk. Family might be blood, but here, we see you as our leader. No one at Somerset believes you deserved to be treated like that. I paused. For the first time in months, I felt something loosen in my chest. Thank you, Haley, I said. No performance, no mask. I stepped out onto the office balcony, looking down at a city just beginning to wake. Sunlight spilled across the glass buildings. Everything kept moving, despite a family breaking, again. But I had no regrets. Because honestly, that family was never truly home. And from this moment on, I would stop trying to be the burden bearer. I would live my life on my terms, with freedom, dignity, and boundaries. No one would be allowed to cross them again just because we shared DNA. I took a sip of coffee. Warm sun, cool air. The first peace I'd felt in years. 3 days after that ridiculous birthday party, Somerset officially issued a contract termination notice for the event. Saren Hale, 25 and fabulous. The reason stated clearly: violation of terms, unauthorized use, and failure to remit payment by deadline. The event company immediately pulled down all photos, deleted the promotional posts, and sent an invoice directly to Saren, with a note. Responsible party for payment, event organizer, Saren Hale. And me? I just sat back, watching each domino fall. Like a chess player silently witnessing their opponent realize they've been checkmated. Saren called me, 7 missed calls. She texted. A storm of messages flipping between begging, accusing, and pleading again. What are you doing? I lost my brand deal. You have money, just help me. If you let me take the fall, I'll tell the media you sabotaged me on purpose. I didn't reply. not because I was scared, but because I no longer had any reason to talk to her. 2 days later, the hashtag Sarin Scam Party started trending on Twitter. Several influencer guests had their bookings cancelled last minute because Somerset didn't allow the unauthorized event. A blogger known for exposing social media figures published a full breakdown. Behind the glitz was a cheap performance. Sarin Hale, an influencer who lives off others' money. Even the ballroom was a lie. Sarin's account was suspended for 3 days for spam and event misrepresentation. Brand partners began pulling ads. One major fashion label even announced it was reviewing its ambassador contract due to concerns over financial transparency. She called my mom. My mom called me. Savannah, you can't let your sister's reputation be destroyed like this. Help her. Just cover the bill, and this will all blow over. I put the phone on speaker, calmly said, Mom, some lessons have to be paid for. With personal collapse. This is one of them. I'm not saving anyone. I'm just done hurting myself. She went quiet. Then snapped. You're choosing to abandon your family. I smiled. No, Mom. Family abandoned me a long time ago. Now I'm just cleaning up the mess left behind by staying silent for too long. I hung up. For good. 2 weeks later, Somerset was named one of the top 5 boutique hotels for guest experience in the Western U.S. A week after that, I signed a long-awaited partnership deal with a luxury travel group from Japan, something I'd been working on for nearly 3 years. And me? I still wore my white button-down, drank my unsweetened black coffee, and had breakfast alone in the hotel lounge. The very corner Sarin once mocked in her story. But this time, I didn't feel sad. I felt free. Free from the burden of being the good one in a family that only knew how to take. Free from guilt every time I said no. Free from the cycle of hope, disappointment, and despair. I ran into Jacqueline, my old college roommate, when she came to Denver for work. She looked me over, then laughed. You haven't changed at all, Savannah. Still minimal, still cool, and still intimidating. I shrugged. At least now, I don't let anyone treat my kindness like an all-you-can-eat buffet. That night, lying in my penthouse, I opened my laptop and typed a note to myself. Just a short one. But it summed up everything. Peace doesn't come from apologies. Peace comes when you start treating yourself like someone who matters. When you stop waiting for validation from people who were never willing to give it. I closed the laptop and looked out the window. The city was still loud, still lit up, still crowded with life. But inside me, there was silence. Not bitterness. Not revenge. Just clarity. Like headlights slicing through the highway at midnight. I am Savannah Hale. And for the first time in my life, I don't need anyone else to acknowledge that. I know who I am. And that is enough. The story of Savannah Hale isn't just about reclaiming control over her life. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, the ones who hurt you most, share your last name. Family shouldn't be a place of unconditional sacrifice. It should be built on respect and fairness. Peace doesn't come from someone else's apology. It comes the moment you stop enduring and start living according to your worth. True freedom begins the day you dare to set boundaries, even with those closest to you. What do you think about Savannah's decision? Was she too harsh? Or was it the only way to truly find herself? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to follow the channel so you won't miss the next emotional family story.